There's going to be plenty of times when you have site-wide sales happening all over the place, whether it's a holiday or whether it's just a random weekend where websites are running sales. You're going to run into those times where there's so many deals happening, you don't really know where to start. So I'm going to jump onto a website that's running a site-wide sale, and I'm going to show you how we can break down, get more specific on products, and actually find something profitable pretty quickly. The goal is to be more efficient sourcing these products instead of going down the list product by product. That's going to take way too long. It's going to be inefficient. So I'm going to show you how we can be efficient today. My name's Alex with SellerAmp. Let's jump into the video. All right, so we can see that Shop WSS is running a 30% off discount for a lot of products. So we're going to go through some of those products. Mostly the discounted products are also included in that 30% off. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of different things and hopefully find something profitably pretty early on. Again, the goal is to find products faster than we would just searching, every single product on the website. So like I mentioned before, we want to narrow our search. So we're going to start with these sale products, and we can see there's clearance up to 60% off. That's perfect. So just by searching the clearance products, we have 525 products, probably from a list of 10,000. So this might still seem a little bit overwhelming. So let's narrow this down even further. So again, we're going to try to get through all of these, but we want to break it down into smaller categories so it feels less overwhelming. And again, we want to look for the most efficient ways to source possible. So we see that we have 190 men's items, 94 women's, boys, girls. Okay, so we have some of those. We have a lot of shoes, a lot of clothing, a lot of accessories. A lot of times what I like to do is sort by products or brands that have the least amount in that search, right? Let's remove some of these smaller category items first, so then we can get to the bigger stuff later. What I'm going to do is actually sort by boys. And then I'm going to sort by, you can see there's only one accessory that's a little low. It's not going to, it's going to take more time searching that and then unfiltering by that later than it is just looking at the entire search here. So we have 43 shoes and 40 clothing. So either one is going to work. I mean, that's not going to make a huge difference. But if we look at boys shoes, let's take a look at the boys shoes, and then we're going to sort by a brand as well. So we're down to 43 products. We can see that, maybe Fila is a brand we know we're never going to sell on Amazon. So we want to eliminate some of that stuff. So Adidas we can sort by. We know that Puma is on an Amazon online arbitrage brand, and Reebok. So now we have a list of 17 products that we know have potential to be sold on Amazon. So what we're going to do is right click on the title, and then we are going to SAS search. Now, a lot of times websites won't be able to kind of pull the title into Amazon when you use SellerAmp Chrome extensions. We're going to have to open the page separately. Sometimes it will, but we just want to make sure that the title itself is accurate. So Own the Game Youth, like that might work, but sometimes some of the other shoes aren't going to work like that. So sometimes you just have to type in Adidas at the beginning or whatever the brand is, right? And that's going to show you here. So, but we can see that we do have the right search here. Looks like a $20 max cost, but if we take 30% of that, that's going to be super profitable. So let's take a look to see if we can find a specific variation that works here, because this one only has one seller. Not ideal. It could be Amazon. All right, so we have the Amazon listing open. Let's scroll down to the variations on SellerAmp and see which ones we think might work best. So let's do a review check here. Just going to calculate all the reviews that every variation has, and then rank them by, best selling to worst selling. So 7, 6, and 7 are great sizes. And then we have this gray gold. That's the color that we have here. So we want to find size 6 and 7. If we select that variation, now it's going to bring up that specific variation. What's the buy box price? What our max cost is, all of that. So we can see that we have size 7 here now. So if we scroll down, we can see that there is a couple different sellers in the listing. So it is moving up and down, which is a great sign. We see that the monthly sold, this is sold, anywhere from 50 to 100 sales in the last 90 days, which is great. And then we can see that Amazon is getting the buy box, but let's see the amount of shares. See, on a listing like this, it's interesting because we can see that Amazon is getting the buy box a lot. They're on the listing the entire time, but sellers are going up and down. So that does mean that Amazon is sharing the buy box somewhat. So let's get an idea. This is going to help us determine how many we want to purchase. If we're finding something profitable, we want to scroll down. We want to look at the buy box analysis. So we can see in the last 90 days, it looks like it's only between Amazon and Zappos. If we go back even further, it looks like there are some other sellers getting the buy box share. So Amazon is dominating. Of course, Zappos is as well. But we see another seller getting 3% of the share. the buy box is suppressed 3% of the time. Another big seller getting the share less than 1% of the time. Another big seller. So to me, that information kind of tells me that, it's not super likely that we're going to get the buy box share all that often. We need to have, be a huge seller for that to happen. So that's the type of information I want to see. And when I see that type of stuff, it's going to help me move off this listing quicker because, we can spend 30 minutes on this listing looking at every variation, looking at all of the different pricing. But if it's not a good lead, it's not a good lead. So we know that, Amazon's probably dominating the buy box here. And then a few other large sellers are getting the share a little bit, but that's enough for me to say, I probably don't want to waste my time with this. I could spend my money elsewhere on better inventory. So we're going to skip this and go on to another product. So we see that own the game, own the game, own the game. So there are a couple of that same shoe. So we're going to look for something a little bit different here. Let's try this Puma Flyer Flex. And again, if we see it's only going to pull in that Flyer Flex Youth. So we need to type Puma in at the beginning because it might not fully recognize that. So type in Puma, see if the same shoe pops up. So we do see it pop up here. It looks like we have a different color. And again, the rank might not be there. So this could be something we skip right away. Okay, so we have another own the game Adidas. Puma, let's take a look at this one. We type in Puma in the title. We want to find that rebound layup. So we see rebound layup mid. This is rebound layup low. So we got to find that low shoe. If we have the mid here, though, that's one thing we can look at. If we're seeing that, the mid shows up, maybe we can look in our search to see if there's a mid. It doesn't look like there is one, but that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so what I want to do is go back to my search and I want to clear the brands. We're going to go a little bit different here because we want to get in front of the best products we can. So maybe boys isn't giving us a good enough search and we want to find, more Adidas products, more Nike products, because those we know sell well historically. So if I remove boys and I click men's, now we have a little bit more products to search through and we're going to see what brands pop up here. So with the men's, we see that there are 12 Adidas shoes. So we're just going to sort through those really quickly. And then we will maybe move on to a different search. Okay, so right click, open the SellerAmp Chrome extension. Again, if the title doesn't quite give us what we want in our search, we need to be adding the brand's name in there somewhere, which I'm going to do anyway, just to make sure that it's giving us the best search possible. You can see it changed the first product that we see here. We see the Adidas Original Sealy sneaker. We want that Sealy XT, which is this one. We see the XT on all of these, which is not a great sign for our search. Daily 3.0. Okay, so yeah, what we want to do is just make sure that we are in the direct match here because that's going to give us the best chance of actually finding a lead that we can purchase. So we can see these Sealy XT. We're going to skip those. We'll go to the Adidas Hoops 3.0. And this is more of a generic title. So, Adidas might not show up. It might. If it does, let's take a look here. So we can see 11K rank. That's a great start so far. 3.0 mid. Okay, so this looks like we have the direct match. We'll have to open this to see which variations are available to purchase and then which ones, are going to be good to sell on Amazon because this one, Amazon's on the listing. There are 12 sellers total. So that's a great sign. Take 30% of $45. We might be close to that $30 range of the max cost. So let's open this Amazon listing. All right, so we have the listing open here. Let's scroll down to the variations. Again, we want to see which variations are selling the fastest here, which ones have the most reviews, which is going to put us in front of products that we have more potential of selling quickly on. So obviously we see the 9.5, the 10.5, the 11. Those are the best selling size variations. If we look at color, we can see that black is going to be the best. Another variation of black, and white, which might be this one, black, white, gray, black, carbon white, black, gray. Okay, so some of these we'll have to just keep an eye on to see which ones we want to look at here. But it looks like the black, gray 10, 11, 9.5. So some of these are going to be our best bet here. So let's open the 11. And now that we have the 11 open, we have a 56 sale price. Let's make sure that that's accurate. So we see 59, 56. And we see that this has sold over 100 times in the last 90 days. That's great. But if we scroll down, we want to see the buy box share. Is Amazon dominating or are they sharing it with other sellers? So Amazon average price 59. They're winning it often, but not too often where other sellers aren't able to get the buy box share. We do see some sellers with not a ton of reviews, more like online arbitrage seller reviews, which is a great sign that we think we could potentially get the buy box share as well. Look at that, 16 reviews, 24, 137, 77. Those are great numbers to give us more confidence that we could probably sell this profitably. So current price, we're sitting at that $56 range. And I think that's pretty reasonable to think we could sell it at that price, because that $56 kind of seems to be that average price. We could list it at 59, but again, that doesn't seem to be historically a super accurate price. We go too far back, and then we start to look at prices where maybe the offer count wasn't quite. See, we have a little bit lower offer count here. Here we're kind of at a pretty level offer count, and that price is pretty consistent. So I think I like this $56 price point. Let's go back and take a look. What are we looking at for price? We have $44.98. So we can use the SellerAmp as our calculator here. $44.98, multiply that by 0.7, and that puts us at $31.49. So not quite there. $6 profit. Not horrible, but not amazing for, such an expensive purchase. 21% ROI, not great, but let's take a look at maybe some other variations that might have a higher buy box. So we have the size 10.5. Let's see what that's listed at. So the 10.5 looks to be the same price. So let's look at one more variation maybe. And it looks like this extra variation also is selling right around that 56 points. So that $56 price point seems to be pretty consistent on a lot of variations here. So we're actually going to move on to another product, because again, we don't want to get hung up on one listing. We want to move on and get through more listings to be more efficient. All right, let's look for one more product here. Let's try to find something a little bit different here. We have Daily 3.0. Let's search that with our SellerAmp extension here. Might have to type in Adidas at the front. Let's just do that just to make sure we have the right search. And we can see that we have Men's Daily 3.0. 3K rank, so that's awesome. And then we have a VI Court 3.0. So I think the Daily 3.0 is what we care about. So 3K rank, that's awesome. That means that this listing sells very often. So let's open the listing, see if we can find a variation that works for us. So again, on our SellerAmp extension, we're going to scroll down to the variations, and we want to find one that sells quickly, right? Maybe the gray doesn't sell as well as the black and white, or maybe the white and black stripes sells faster. So again, so we have Dove Gray, size 11. So actually this color here, size 11, does seem to have the most reviews, which is a good sign. And then size 9 as well in that color. Otherwise, core black, and then white 10.5 is going to have a decent amount. And then that gray 10.5. So that gray seems to be the faster selling variation. So $59 sale price. Let's just double check that with the chart here. And we can see that $58, $59, $53. So it looks pretty consistent. I think we could probably sell this where it's currently at. We see that the offer count isn't super inflated or anything like that. We're looking at 10 sellers. We were at 10 in the past. And then monthly sold, this variation sells a ton, right? It's a 3K rank. This specific variation sells 500 times a month, which is great to see. One last double check we want to see is Amazon dominating the buy box. We saw they were on this listing a lot. What I like to see is that even if they have 96% of the share, right? Maybe they're taking 450 out of the 500 sales on this specific variation per month. But that means 50 other sales could go to other sellers. So if you're able to get the buy box most of the time, other than what Amazon's getting, you could get a decent amount of sales on this specific product. And if it's making enough profit, that's a great deal to me. So we can see a seller with 9 reviews is getting the buy box, 85, 363. So it looks like other sellers are definitely getting that buy box share. It just depends on who's getting it, how often they're getting it, and they're obviously sharing with Amazon, but definitely could get sales on this listing. So now the last step, we want to see, are we profitable? Let's take a look. We're getting this for $39.99. $39.99 multiplied by 0.7, because we're getting our 30% off. And what do you know? We're going to make almost $13 profit, 45% ROI. This is definitely a winner. And it didn't even take us that many products to get through to find this profitable lead. So I'm glad we were able to find a profitable lead for you, show you how we can narrow down our search to be more efficient, and then how SellerAmp is going to help us transition to get those leads in front of us so we can do the profit calculation and then understand if we're going to be profitable on some of these leads. So hopefully you guys got some value out of this video. If you did, subscribe to the SellerAmp channel, and I'll see you in the next video.